The objective of this video is to show you how to factor a polynomial completely when you're given one or two factors, and then you're going to use those to write the complete factorization and find the zeros of that polynomial. Now the steps that you're going to go through are to verify that the factor you're given is indeed a factor by doing long division. Then you're going to rewrite that original polynomial times the factor you just used times the quotient that you found after you performed the long division. And then you're going to have to do some factoring by hand. All of these polynomials are factorable, so it's going to take it down to generally a quadratic that you can factor by hand. Then once you have the complete factorization, you're going to be able to find all the zeros of that polynomial. So let me show you with the two that I actually used in the last video about how to verify that a binomial was a factor. So that first example is to factor completely f of x equals 2x cubed plus x squared minus 5x plus 2, knowing that x plus 2 is a factor. And in the last video I showed you how to verify that x plus 2 was a factor of that. We performed long division and found that 2x cubed plus x squared minus 5x plus 2 was equal to x plus 2 times 2x squared minus 3x plus 1. So keep in mind that this 2x squared minus 3x plus 1 was a quotient that we found by performing the long division. So now what we're going to need to do is rewrite that quotient, 2x squared minus 3x plus 1, in terms of its factors. So this is a quadratic. We can factor it by trial and error or the AC method, whichever way you know. Hopefully by now you're pretty comfortable with factoring. So I would do this. 2 times 1 is 2. The factors of 2, whose sum is 3, are 2 and 1. And so I need to factor them so that the outer and inner is a 2 and 1. Well, the only factors of 2x squared are 2x and x, and the only factors of 1 are 1 and 1. We know that the signs have to be the same and they're both negative. And we can verify by multiplying these binomials. 2x times x is 2x squared. The outer product is negative 2x. The inner is negative x. That's where we get the negative 3x plus 1. So we have the complete factorization now. So what are the zeros? Well, the zeros come from setting those factors to 0. So we know that x is equal to negative 2 is a factor. 2x equals 1 gives us that x equals 1/2 is a factor. And lastly, x equals 1 is a 0. So the zeros are negative 2, 1/2, and 1. Let me show you that same thing with a little bit more complicated problem. This is a one where we had to verify that x plus 2 and x minus 4 were factors of 8x to the 4th minus 14x cubed minus 71x squared minus 10x plus 24. And recall we did that division twice and found that the factorization was x plus 2 times x minus 4 times 8x squared plus 2x minus 3. So to completely factor this further, we're going to have to rewrite this polynomial by factoring that quadratic factor further. So we want to find the factors of 8x squared plus 2x minus 3. And again, the way I would do it is say 8 times 3 is 24. What factors of 24 give me a 2? And that would be 4 and 6. So I need to arrange the factors of 8 and 3 in such a way that I get 4 and 6. Well, I'm going to try 4x and 2x. And my factors of 3 are 1 and 3. So if I put a 3 here and a 1 here, notice that my outer would be 4x and my inner is 6x. The signs are going to be different, with the larger factor being positive. So the 6x has to be positive and the minus on the 4x. So that gives me my complete factorization. Now I need to find the zeros. So the zeros would be where each of those factors are equal to 0, So we get that x is equal to negative 2, x is equal to 4, 4x is equal to negative 3, so the 0 from that is negative 3/4. And 2x minus 1 equals 0 gives us that 2x is equal to 1, so x would be equal to 1/2. So those are the zeros of that function. And in the next video I'm going to show you how you can use your calculator to verify that. But recall that, what did the zeros mean graphically? The zeros are the x-intercepts. So this is telling you where the graph will cross the x-axis. Okay, so if you have any questions on that, it's basically using the last video together with some things that you should know before this class, and then pulling all those things together to find the zeros. If you have any questions, contact me.